I wanted to follow up, I guess, on the end of our conversation with Neil Dalal there about Jordan Poole. And I was reading in the break, too, more on this from our good friend Ava Wallace, who joined us last week in the Washington Post, and kind of what Poole and what other teammates and what Wes Unseld has said about the now infamous video, Anthony, of Jordan Poole not caring, it looks like, in a huddle. And I think the part of the reason that video takes off like it does is it depicts something a certain way, and that way then seems to match the play on the floor. The frivolous shots, the lookaways, the casual, oh, we're down by 20 to the Hawks, but let me throw a alley-oop to Kyle Kuzma off the backboard nonsense that, like, isn't really actually nonsense. It's like, okay, whatever. It's a little silly. It's a little flashy. But, like, they got a dunk on a fast break. That's cool. That's what you want. Good job, JP and Kyle. Let's not be down by 21 in the first place. But I do think there is something to the culture side of this that I think the Wizards need to ask a real question about. And that depends on, like, the answers to some other questions, which the main one being, is what we see out of Jordan Poole in that video what everyone makes it out to be, and is that who he is? And I think it's important to push back on that narrative if we're being responsible journalists, which, look, journalists is a stretch. I strive for this show to be opinion journalism. We give our opinions. That's our job. We're not reporters, but we try to do it within the context of, like, actual facts and information. We don't run with wild narratives. There are stories that other shows will talk about that I will simply ignore because I don't think they're worth our time. I don't try to give people attention that don't deserve it. All those kinds of things. But, like, when you read Ava's story in the Post, and, you know, to Neil's point, I would hope that if, you know, there is a there, that it's been addressed, and it's been addressed forcefully, because Jordan Poole is supposed to be a culture setter. But I will say, in talking to people throughout the Wizards in the preseason, that's exactly who he is he's a culture setter. Like, he came in and he works his butt off. And that was what his rep was. We remember that when we had Bonta Hill on the show, was it the day that they traded for him, draft day? Bonta, who's the mornings out in the Bay? He's on 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. I can't remember his time slot. But he does a ton of stuff with the Warriors, and he's like, yo, you guys are going to love Jordan Poole because he works so hard. And Bilal Coulibaly has said, like, this guy has been one of the key guys for me. And, like, I think Bilal is really smart, and he gets it at a level that I wish everyone else in this organization for years had gotten it. And he's the most important person in the organization because of that and because of his skill. But I don't think he would lie about that. Like, he could just as easily be like, oh, Kuz, oh, this guy, oh, that guy. He's like, no. Like, JP taught me how to work as a pro. And I think, like, I would hope that there is more of an example set. And I think what Jordan has to realize ultimately, and what the Wizards need to get out of Jordan, is what it truly means to be the guy. And that's going to be an adjustment for him. He has been able to be, as a player, a little floaty, right? If I score 30, it's amazing and we're probably going to win. If I score 15, it doesn't really matter. No, you need to score 26 a night now if you want this team to be competitive. And he has barely done that, and they've barely been competitive. And I think the demeanor, the attitude, the intensity, all of that stuff, the consistency that results in more consistency that comes with being the guy is, I think, an actual bigger deal than he wasn't paying attention in a huddle, which, as he explained last night before the game when he was asked about all this stuff, he's like, it's a 2-minute huddle. I had seen the play. You know, you can't really make that commentary from the stands. I went back and made sure that I had it. So I talked to coach and, like, we're good. There's no issue. Wes Unseld, by the way, said he didn't see the video, which is, I think, believable, but also, you know, whatever. Like, take that for what it's worth. But, like, I actually don't think the video is a big deal. I think the play is a bigger deal. And I don't think the two are as tied as people are making it out to be after reading up a little bit more on it.
I think you said it perfectly in terms of, Jordan just learning how to be the guy. Again, it's maturity, like in the NBA. I think you look around the NBA, you see Anthony Edwards, you see Tyrese Halliburton. These are guys who, up and coming stars, still learning how to, be the guy. And I just don't think it's necessarily clicked all that well for Jordan Poole. And I think he's in a situation where it's easier for him to, to develop into that role as the guy. Anthony Edwards, he had Rudy Gobert, he has Karl Anthony Towns. He had like some people that were, stars ahead of him. And now he's like on their level, if not already surpassed them as the best player on the team. So I think it's just more so, the maturity level, the IQ, Jordan Poole trying to, reel it all in together. And I don't know, if the coaches are supposed to help him. I don't know if it's going to be Kyle Kuzma. I don't know if it's, in himself. But it's definitely something he needs to learn. And, I mean, he has a perfect opportunity to do that, especially if he wants to, ultimately help us compete and win some games.
Yeah, I think this goes back to like how the team and the staff and everything is built. I don't know enough about the Wizards' assistants and their styles to know this.
Yeah.
But like, Wes might not at the end of the day be the right coach for this group. And that doesn't actually mean he couldn't be a good coach for some group. Like you look at a team like Denver where he came from, right?
Yep.
I think he'd be great out there. Obviously anyone could coach Nikola Jokic on some level, but like Wes is a great people person. He's very smart. Like, I don't know if he's like the world's greatest motivator or if he's the world's greatest like disciplinarian, right? So if he's not those things, is a bit of a wild card like a Jordan Poole, not the best coach-player fit, right? Or like Kuz can get a little bit wild sometimes. And, Kuz and I talked about this before the season where he's like, Tyus is the guy that kind of brings us together. And Tyus is kind of the responsible one in the room that if Jordan or I get a little bit out of whack, Tyus brings it back, right? But like you need the right personalities, and Tyus is a great leader, but I don't know that Tyus is good enough or has enough of a resume to really like put JP or Kyle or whoever else in their place. I don't know that Wes is that kind of personality. And so I think that like we use words like bad or good or whatever, and I think often it's right. Like, is it the right fit at the right time, the right group? And obviously this team like got rid of Taj Gibson in the preseason. They didn't feel like they needed him. But like Danilo Gallinari is the vet on this team, and Gallo hasn't played defense in a decade. So like, is he going to go to Jordan Poole and be like, yeah, bro, you got to play better defense? No, he's not. And that's why, like, obviously the punch changed everything, but like Draymond is that guy in Golden State. If you don't play up to a certain standard, like Draymond's going to let you know about it. I don't know who that person is here. And it can't be a 19-year-old kid who speaks English as a second language either. So I think that like, you see some of the flaws in the way the current team is built, which is not really a criticism of Will Dawkins and Michael Winger. They didn't build this team to win. It just is a explainer of some of the issues where people are like, Wes sucks. And it's like, he might suck for this team. It doesn't mean he actually sucks as a coach. And again, I did the Wes thing the other day in terms of like, I don't know, he's had terrible groceries to cook meals with for the last couple of years. I don't know what kind of chef he is. But I do think that there is a fit, whatever. And maybe Wes is an Italian chef who's working in a Chinese restaurant. And that obviously is not going to work. And can you get the right if Winger and Dawkins, for instance, think Wes is actually the guy they want to lead because he's a great fit with, say, Bilal, who is a self-starter and has a little bit more discipline and yada, yada, yada. Can you get the rest of do you get the right types of personalities around that player, around that coaching staff, whoever it is that you think is the right long-term fits for this group? Because right now it definitely feels a bit of a rudderless ship, but we are 11 games in to a completely, totally new rebuild, and we'll see where it goes over the next 10. Once we're at that quarter point, I think you can be a little bit more definitive. And, of course, by the quarter point in the season in mid-December or late December, they're probably looking to make some trades anyway. So who knows?
This is The Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.